Hello everyone, it's Iceland here. Welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to film again, so I'm going to do both my February wrap-up and my March TBR together. So let's start off with February. In early February, I finally finished Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. This is a dark romance erotica. Incredibly good book, but for heaven's sakes, all the trigger warnings. It had a really good plot, and the spice was just top notch. But again, very, very dark, so trigger warnings all over the place. I then read Echo by Chani Lynn Feener. This author is very quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I loved Echo, and I'm actually reading her Devil in the Deep Sea and Whispers in the Dark right now. They kind of all take place in the same universe, but they follow different characters. But the universe that she is building, her world building, is just like absolutely top notch. So I look forward to reading more in this universe. But I did finish Echo. This one is, again, a little bit on the darker side for romance. Enemies to lovers, so trigger warnings. I then read book 2 in the Honey and Ice trilogy, A Throne of Feathers and Bone. This is a fantasy romance series. It's a fae romance, and I liked it, but not as good as the first book. So we'll see what the third book is. It was really good. The first book, though, was, I felt, much more plot heavy. The second book, not quite as plot heavy. It focused a little bit more on the romance than the first one. But but the progression of the plot and the growth of the characters was really, really good. And again, the world building in that trilogy is like fantastic. Then I read A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. This one, very strong beginning, very strong almost ending, and very, very weak ending and middle. This book had pacing issues. It was a political fantasy. Started off incredibly strong. They touched a little bit on a magic system, but didn't really explain anything, and then didn't really use the magic system that was created for the world, which for a fantasy I was a little confused on. But yeah, it had a really strong beginning. It had engaging characters, but I struggled with a good portion of this book because it felt like a roller coaster. And you had shit just happen really fast, and then long chapters of just nothing happening. Lots of dialogue. And then everything happening all at once, and then nothing happening for like half the book. And then the end just felt so incredibly rushed. Again, though, I really think that this was more of a pacing issue. Overall, the story was good, but I think if it had been paced better, it really would have hit that phenomenal scale, and it just didn't for me. Then I read They Came from the Ocean by Boris Bakic. This is a horror book. I struggled with this one in the beginning, but when the horror started to happen, oh my god, it scared the pants off of me that I had to put it down and turn on lights because it was that atmospheric, and I really, really enjoyed it. I have a couple more from this author that are also horror books that I am really looking forward to reading, because this guy does horror really well. And then I read book 2 of The Artifacts of Uranus, Rule of the Aurora King by Nisha J. Tooley. This trilogy just keeps getting better and better and better with every book. Now there's only 2 out, but the third one is due out very, very soon. But the second one really surprised me because I was really expecting, kind of like what happened with Throne of Feathers and Bone, where it would suffer from book 2 syndrome, where not really a whole lot would happen. You know, a few things to kind of move the plot along, but definitely be like a filler book between books 1 and 3. Not at all. Rule of the Aurora King is just as strong, if not stronger than book 1. The world just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The characters and the relationships just keep getting better and better, and those twists and turns are absolutely amazing. So book 3 is not released yet, and it will be a first day pick up and read for me because spoilers, book 2 ends on a cliffhanger. So if you do plan to read this trilogy, do not read book 2 until book 3 is out, and I think that's June at some time. Then I read from Katie Robert, Neon Gods. This one is a Hades and Persephone retelling with the gods of Olympus. She's actually got a whole series of these that follow different myths. I mean, it was okay. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I liked that even though it was a overused mythology retelling, the Hades and Persephone story, I think, has been so oversaturated. It's like Beauty and the Beast and fairy tale retellings. The market is so oversaturated that you just are like, really, again? I held off picking this up for the longest time because I was already reading the Hades and Persephone trilogy by, I think it's Scarlett St. Clair, the Touch series, Touch of Ruin, Touch of Malice, Touch of something. Anyway, I'm glad I did pick it up, though. Even though it's a retelling of a trope that has been used way too much in the market, it did stand on its own. It's kind of a bit more of a sci-fi, or at least I'm going to say advanced, urban, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, it was pretty good, and I'm glad I picked it up, and I will definitely be reading more out of that Gods of Olympus series, following other characters eventually down the road. Then the last 2 I read were City of Thorns by C.N. Crawford. C.N. Crawford, I really like their writing, and this one had to do with demons and witches. It was another fantasy romance. Okay, I don't normally read things with romance in them, but you know what? It was February, and I felt like it. So a lot of these are romances. And I don't want to give too many spoilers away because it is, again, pretty twisty and turny. But, it was good. I gave it 4 stars. It was probably one of my highest under Rule of the Aurora King and Echo. It was my highest rated book this month. I do have the books 2 and 3. These are audiobooks, and we'll definitely be reading them sooner rather than later. And finally, I finished off the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy by Carrie Maniscalco with Kingdom of the Feared. I was highly disappointed in Kingdom of the Feared. I still gave it 3 stars just because the overall trilogy is really good. But I do believe I felt like Kingdom of the Feared was really trying to be... It was trying to set itself up as a very spicy book, like Den of Vipers, just to compare it to spiciness. But it was not that greatly executed, and the plot was very much a tell you, don't show you sort of plot, which I was really disappointed in, because the first 2 books are not like that. Kingdom of the Fear definitely felt like the weakest link. I'm glad how everything wrapped up. I was happy with the ending. I was satisfied with the ending, but overall was just not impressed. 1, with the pacing of the book, and 2, with the overall tell you something happened, but not actually show it on page. So that was kind of how I felt for February. I was really happy with my reading just because, especially after my utmost disappointment of January, that was really refreshing to punch out a bunch of books in February here. Okay, so that should bring me to March. I have a incredibly busy March coming up, as I have a very, very large relocation going on. And the next few weeks are going to be cleaning and packing and just organizing so I can pack stuff up. And packing up some of the biggest and longest things it's going to take me to organize and pack, including my library. This is actually probably going to be the last video filmed in this room, at least for this channel. I might squeeze out one more for my crafting channel, and then I'm not sure when I'm going to have a chance to film again. Sorry, my dog just walked in. But yeah, so that should be exciting. The next video, whenever that happens. My library is actually going to be getting packed up a little bit later on this week. And I did keep some books out just so I would have some physical books left out. But most of the month is probably going to end up being audiobooks, to be quite honest. And I haven't really decided an audiobook TBR pile yet. But I'm going to jump into what I've kept aside for physical books. These ones you will recognize from my February TBR pile. The hardcovers here are actually going to get packed up, and I'm just going to keep the audiobooks open. And that is Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and then its sequel, Beyond the End of the World. And because I have the audiobook version of that, those are going to get packed up, but those are at least two of the audiobooks that I am looking at for a TBR. Then I actually have the audiobook from my library for Fable by, I believe it's pronounced Adrina Young. And I'm listening to that right now. So that will definitely be finished because it's got to go back to the library soon. And then I'm on the wait list for book 2 for that one. I don't know if I'll get it in March or I don't. If I do, it will be on my March TBR. For other books I've kept out, I got a couple little paperbacks here. I've got The Cruel Stars and The Shattered Skies by John Birmingham. And I don't know if this is a trilogy or if it's just this duology, but I do know that I did very briefly start into Cruel Stars last year and put it down because I decided I want to wait until I had book 2 in hand, because I really felt like this was one I could binge read, and I now have book 2 in hand, so I kept those out. Then I've got another duology here, and this one is A Monstrous Heart and The Deep Water King by Claire McKenna. These are books 1 and 2 of the Deepwater King trilogy. I do not have book 3, but I figure that the next time I go shopping, if I like those, I'll pick up book 3. Then I've got a YA Norse mythology inspired book by Kaylin Flanders. Kaylin? Yeah, Kaylin Flanders, called Shielded. That's all I really know about it. I believe it had good reviews, so I left it out. When I was reading the summaries for that shelf, that's the one that kind of stuck in my head, or stuck in my face, whatever. Then Thorn, this one by, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Intisar Kahani, that author right there. This is supposed to be a fairy tale retelling, but I don't really know what fairy tale. But it was a pretty cover, and yes, I bought that strictly for the cover. But when I was reading the summary, I think it's something I'd like to leave out and read this month if possible, so that's what I'm going to do. And same with Thief, Liar, Lady by D.L. I think it's pronounced Soria. or Sora. This is a Cinderella retelling where Cinderella is basically a thief, liar, lady. I did start this a few months ago. I think I read the first couple chapters and then I got sidetracked. Badly sidetracked. So I feel like I'm going to come back to it now just because I did start it, but I'm going to restart it. So for now, that's a long video. But for now, those are the plans. Like I said, this is probably going to be the last video in this room. The next time you see me, I should be all unpacked and set up on the other end. I don't know how long it's going to take me, and I don't know exactly how this is all going to go. But yeah, so that's it for now. I will see you guys in the next video whenever I can get one out. It should be sometime in March, but that's the plan for March anyway, for now. All right.